Hello, and welcome back. This is Fear Dragon coming at you with another StarCraft 2 netcast. This is game number 3 of the best of 5 series between MVPGenius and LiquidTaeja. So if you have not seen game number 1 or game number 2, go ahead and click back to that. This is a spoiler alert. But if you have, we're going to go ahead and introduce these players spawning in the bottom right hand corner of GSL Metropolis. We have the red Protoss player, and here's the spoiler alert. He is down 0-2 in this best of 5 series. We're going to see if he can make a comeback. His name is MVPGenius. And his opponent spawning in the top right hand corner of GSL Metropolis as the blue Protoss player, up 2-0. Let's see if he can finish and close out the series with a 3-0 victory. Representing Team Liquid, his name is LiquidTaeja. Both these players, Codex level players, showing us some great games. In that last game, we saw a very close game where MVPGenius tried to take that third expansion over and over again, trying to get that good old advantage on Cloud Kingdom, a Protoss favored map, and be able to take advantage of the fact that that third makes it a little bit easier to defend against those drops, but LiquidTaeja really just not allowing him to do so, just continuously denying that, eventually winning in with that final engagement. But we're going to have to see whether or not he can do it again, or if MVPGenius can come back in the series with a 3-2 victory. We do see the command server coming down from LiquidTaeja, so it looks like he's going to be playing that good old normal style of play that we normally see from a Terran player. We actually see a command center first, so a bit of a greedy play, but he's going to be looking to be in a fine position for the meanwhile until we do end up seeing what MVPGenius has in store for him. Now, this is not exactly an unheard of situation for MVPGenius to be cheesing in. MVPGenius has been showing in his GSL Codex matches that he is not afraid to cheese. And when it comes down to the wire, when it comes down to that last game in a best of 3 or best of 5 series, we're going to have to see if he decides to go for it. But no, it's looking like he's supposed to go ahead and play it out standard. So we do see that Nexus going down. This little Zealot is going to make his way across the map. Definitely going to be able to do some nice little aggression, as that Marine will be popping out around the time that the Zealot does end up getting over here. And the Zealot is going to be able to at least put on a little bit of harassment on these SCVs that are out over here at this lonely little expansion with little to no defense. Now this Marine is going to be popping out in just a second, but let's see if the Zealot with proper micro will be able to get a couple of kills. We do see him getting one nice shot off, and you have to remember that this Zealot plus this probe should be able to two-shot any workers, and we do see there goes down one of the probes, but he also managed to net one of those SCV kills. And wow, actually this is not a full wall, kind of surprising, but he does end up getting that Zealot out with no actual hull damage. Just 2 shields left. Nice pullback from MVPGenius. Is going to deflect all of the aggression though. LiquidTaeja is going to deflect that aggression with no real damage done. And yeah, it looks like both these players are going to be pretty happy with how that engagement went. Going to go ahead and keep going with their general game plan. So these 2 additional gateways being thrown down. It's pretty normal from MVPGenius. He does want to get up that gateway count in case his opponent does decide to go for some kind of big Marine pressure push. In the meanwhile, we see barracks being thrown down. We see that second barracks being thrown down, or that third barracks, I should say, being thrown down as well. We're going to have to wait and see whether or not he ends up deciding to start mining gas anytime in the near future. Looks like not for the meanwhile. So we might be seeing some nice early game Marine aggression. But what's this? This SCV looking for those proxy starports, it looks like. So really nice play from LiquidTaeja, playing it very safe in pretty much every single one of these games in this best of 5 series, making sure that he's scatting around with this SCV for those potential proxy locations. And really, I think it's working out pretty well for him. Actually, I think at this point, this actually might not necessarily be what I was saying. I think this actually might have just been an attempt to avoid that Stalker that he expected was going to be at the Zelnaga Watchtower, but instead we do see the Stalker over here Now LiquidTaeja is going to go ahead and scout out, see, okay, just make sure my opponent did not take a very, very quick third. And it looks like in the meanwhile, MVPGenius clearly not having done that, going ahead and just upping that gateway count, getting that robotic facility, as we have seen in all of those previous games that he has been playing. So it's kind of sticking to his guns now, going the same build he went for in that last game. In the meanwhile, it looks like LiquidTaeja throwing in another mix-up, once again getting that gas much later than he did in either of the other two games, going ahead and getting that tech card just now, a little bit later than normal, and going ahead and getting that stim research upgraded. And should be expecting a +1 infantry weapon as well, picking out once he has the gas for it. But just needing to produce at this point in time in one Marauder out of this one Tech Lab barracks. So he might be able to do a nice little bit of aggression. But look at this, he already has that third command center finished up. So kind of wow. Oh no, okay, never mind. For a second I thought, oh my god, did LiquidTaeja just figure out how to start mining with 6 SCVs from the gas geyser? But no, only one SCV can be in the gas geyser at a time. It's not going to be the most time, but oh well. Taking his own third, so he's not going to be too far behind, despite the fact that LiquidTaeja did get a scout off on his opponent to see whether or not that third was taken. MVPGenius is just going to take it a little bit later than when LiquidTaeja scouted, and he's going to feel pretty comfortable doing that in the meanwhile. And we do see that the observer did just pop out for MVPGenius. We're going to go ahead and take a look at what he can see. He has not really seen too much. He did get that nice little scout off with that early zealot. Did end up seeing that at least the barracks were thrown down. Actually, wow, he actually has ended up seeing quite a bit. It looks like he actually might have poked up once again later on. But take that third. Meanwhile, MVPGenius already has that third up. Wouldn't be too surprised to start seeing him grab these gas geysers in the near future, as he's definitely, there it is, definitely going to be teching up quite quickly now. I also wouldn't be too surprised to see him going ahead and getting that robotic space sometime in the next minute or two, as he definitely wants that Colossus count out, considering that both these players are really going for that very heavy macro game. And we do see the infantry weapons going to be completing along the same timing as this push moves out, as well as potentially concussive shells. So this is going to be a nice little timing that LiquidTaeja is going to hit a +1 timing with that stim concussive shells, and looks like definitely not combat shields, but still a nice little timing that he can hit, do a little bit of damage, and it's definitely going to be working out in his favor for now at least, as we can already see over here, the MVPGenius really doesn't have any upgrades, doesn't really have anything other than those regular old gateway units, but he has to be very careful considering that all of these sentries do exist, and if he gets some nice force fields, as we have seen in some of those previous games, he can be in for a lot of trouble, he being LiquidTaeja. But we do see this one Marine kind of stimming down. He's going to get a nice little scout off to see, oh, the third was taken. Okay, that's kind of what I expected. And he's going to go ahead and see how many kills can one Marine rack up on an army of probes. We do see some nice little stutter step micros. They received 3 kills. Definitely worthwhile for this Marine. And no, definitely not going to escape out of the frying pan and into the fire pit of the sun. Jeez, running into that entire army, a very scary force. But we do see a drop loading up from LiquidTaeja. He's going to be able to use that to bypass these rocks. We're going to end up seeing how that ends up working out. We do see that LiquidTaeja also moving in with the rest of his army. Wouldn't be surprised to kind of just do a little bit of distraction push, moving in forward with this army over here. Now we do see a nice little split up from MVPGenius. Now in the meanwhile, LiquidTaeja doing a nice job focus firing down those units one at a time, even getting the Immortal. In the meanwhile, we do see that these units are going to be moving up and stimming. They might actually be able to get the sentries. It's going to be a huge win for LiquidTaeja. Now we do see actually both of these units are kind of grouping up and regrouping. Now he's going to be running off a little bit. He does see that the entire army of MVPGenius is going to be after him, and that's going to be a very scary force. So he needs to retreat at this point in time, but does end up managing to snipe off a couple of those very important key gas units, such as that Immortal, such as those sentries. So he's going to feel pretty happy with that aggression that he did end up doing. In the meanwhile, though, MVPGenius not quite as happy as his opponent. He's going to be moving out across the map, seeing what damage he can do. He needs to push back with a having lost a couple of those units. But he needs to be careful, as his engagement angle is not entirely ideal. Oh, the Zealots on the back. It looks like with this, a Marine Marauder force is going to be able to pick off that Colossus very, very quickly. But still, the force field is pretty good, and the army is just so big from MVPGenius that it looks like it's not going to matter. He's going to be able to start cleaning up a lot of LiquidTaeja's army, but no, LiquidTaeja with those Medivacs healing his army is going to be able to start cleaning up a lot of MVPGenius' army. It's going to be very close. Another Colossus go down. They're definitely worth it for LiquidTaeja, but LiquidTaeja's entire army does end up getting cleaned up with 2 Marauders left with him. A flurry and a swarm of these stalkers with a different potentially coming in. It looks like still not going to be enough for LiquidTaeja. He ends up using actually all of his Medivacs and might not even end up using both of his Vikings, and this could be a huge loss for LiquidTaeja, as LiquidTaeja actually really does not want to be losing both those Vikings and those Medivacs. Actually is a huge loss, considering you really want those Medivac count to stay up high when you start producing them so that you don't have to reproduce them. You want to start using those starports to just produce those pure Viking counts to deal with those Colossus. But for now, we're going to see only 1 Viking out to deal with this 1 Colossus. I have to say, you want more than 1 Viking per Colossus in these big engagements, and it looks like he's going to be at a bit of a precarious situation. If a second Colossus, it looks like no second Colossus quite regrouping for this push as of just yet. But for now, LiquidTaeja is going to have a nice little fleet of 3 Vikings to prepare for this Colossus. Not sure if he's going to use them, quite passing them, but we do see LiquidTaeja stimming in. He's going to be able to do some nice aggression over here, start picking off a couple of those stalkers, but target firing down the Colossus. Not quite able to get it. Now they're them getting it with those Vikings, but those Vikings are definitely going to get picked off at least this one. Wow, the Viking actually manages to survive. Nice little survival by that one Viking. Definitely wants to keep all of those Vikings alive, as he does not want to reproduce, and he wants to start reproducing a couple of those those Medivacs that he did not losing earlier on. We're going to have to see whether or not LiquidTaeja is going to be able to hold off this aggression, though. It looks like MVPGenius really wants to put on that aggression, but does he see that there is that 4th? He was so close! And there, now he goes in and sees that there is that 4th. But we see SCVs actually coming out on the line, and we also see the Medivacs and the Marines and the Marauders engaging. The Zealots ripping them to shreds, though I'm not sure if LiquidTaeja has a large enough army in this engagement to take on MVPGenius' army, but now the Zealots are cleaned up, and wow, actually the Colossus is even cleaned up with that Viking count, and even though there is this huge warp in the Zealots, it looks like LiquidTaeja able to push back MVPGenius' army, and MVPGenius giving the GG, realizing that there is this 4th expansion, as well as this all the rest of the remaining bases and being pushed back. He realized that he was behind and decides to throw out the GG. Very well played by LiquidTaeja, taking this series 3-0. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Thank you so much to both of these players for playing out a magnificent series, and thank you so much to Razor for releasing this replay pack of LiquidTaeja versus MVPGenius. There are also a couple other Liquid games that I will probably be casting in the future. Of course, not all of them are complete stomp in one side or the other, so Liquid does not always end up winning every single one of the games, but be on the lookout for them in the future. I'm definitely going to be looking into those sometime eventually. But if you actually want to be seeing me casting your games, you can go in and submit those to feardragon64@gmail.com. That's feardragon64@gmail.com. It'll be in the description below. Also, if you like my videos in any capacity whatsoever, please go ahead and subscribe. You're already on my YouTube channel, so you don't have to go anywhere for that. But if you do want to go ahead and stay tuned for any kind of live events that I do, I also have some of my live events on my YouTube channel. But you can catch them live at twitch.tv/feardragon64. And also get notifications about them on my Twitter account. That's twitter.com/feardragon64. I'm actually not going to keep you guys here for too long. You guys have stuck around for all 3 of these very long games. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I'll see you guys